Alright, on today's agenda, 29 degrees this morning. It's warmed up a little bit, so I turned my electric heat on. I don't like to run it very long because it's expensive to run, so just knock off the chill out here and get it warmed up, and then allow the diesel to maintain it. But anyways, I'm gonna get these reinstalled on the car. I'm praying it's for the last time that I have to do that. Continue to work on these edges and the gaps and everything to make sure everything looks good. Work on these few little dings that are in here, which I think with this is just tap it a little bit and then put some marker on it, and then resand it to see if it's knocked out. Same thing here. They're just little light dents from moving them around, but they're not rusty. So that's a good thing. So yeah, there's my marker. Like I said, just work on that. Work on them edges. And that'll be that. Once I get all that situated and happy, then I will work on trying to get the car sanded down. I don't know if I'll make it that far today, but I'm sure gonna try. So, alright, with that said, first video of the week, Sunday, cold outside, boo-hoo. Let some sunshine in here, let that help warm it up, and I'll get back with you. Night. Alright, so this is it for today. Fenders are on, locked in place, not going nowhere. They are there. Both sides might have a little bit of adjustment here, not much. This is all back to where it was. And same thing here. Good on my door gaps all the way around. My hood gaps are nice. Trunk gaps. Worked on a couple of the dents back here. Still have a few more to do. Spent a lot of time on that door, repairing some rust out holes and sanding it all down and getting it put into the epoxy primer. So spent a lot of time on that door today, but it is what it is. I mean, that's gotta be done. But anyway, so yeah, all the door jams and everything's cleaned up inside here. Once I get a little further along, I will take these lock mechanisms out, clean them up really good, and drop them in a Vaporust, and then re-grease and clean them up, you know what I'm saying, get them working mechanically good. So as for the inside of the doors, what I'll probably do is pour 15 on the inside, but that's not going to be for a while. Alright, thought I'd show you where I was at, Getting this thing lined back up. And it's shutting like that because I ain't got the gasket on the door anymore, so. Oh, and that's why I gotta take that mechanism out, because it gets stuck. It wants to fight. I mean, I don't know if it's just out too far. I think that's what I'll do. I'll try to move a shim off of it and see if that helps it out. Alright. Get back with you guys. Okay, so that's where I'm at. Basically, I got it 99% sanded, pretty much everything. Got to go back a few spots like here and hit it with the Scotch-Brite, and just make sure that there's no shinies nowhere. I do have a couple areas that I want to work on, like that. That I won't probably mess with until we get some epoxy on. But that needs to be ground down a little bit. I want to work on this corner here. I re-welded it, so I just need to round it off a little bit more. And then I got a dent right here on the body line that I want to try to put some stud weld some dent pullers on here and kind of pull that dent out and straighten it up. Then I got a little bit of a few little rust holes right here that I want to address. At this point, I probably shouldn't be touching the car with my bare fingers, but this is a repair area, so for now on, from here out until I get epoxy on here, I will be wearing gloves, even when I'm doing my little repairs. So a little dent here that I need to work on, some dents here, area up there I need to grind down. That area I need to grind that back down, and then on the inside of the trunk area there too. You get something smaller to wire brush or something to get in here and get the rest of the paint out of the lock. I got a little bit of a dent right here that I'm going to try to work on, which ain't too much. A lot of guys are saying, or one guy should I say is commenting, just smear some Bondo on it, it'll be alright. But I want to try to get it smooth as possible before I do smear anything on it. But nice little ding right here that I need to work on. I think that's probably when the tree branch broke off out front and it damaged the old trunk lid, and I believe it hit right there too. So that will be needed to be knocked out. As for this side, I still need to take the file and kind of fine tune this edge here a little bit. Not much, pretty simple. I need to weld these holes shut on both sides because I'm not putting trim on here, so them will be welded shut. I pretty much fine-tuned all this already with the file, so I think I'm pretty good here. Other than that, man, there's just a few little spots I need to address, and then I should be almost ready to spray the epoxy on. When I said 99%, so this is what I'm talking about. You know, I got a little bit of sanding to do around this area. I'll probably sand this off on both sides. Yeah, not much more than that. Oh yeah, I wanted to straighten this area out. Kind of just trim that excess off of there and make it match the quarter panel. And that's about it. Getting down to the nitty gritty here so I can shoot some epoxy on, and high build epoxy, should I say. And then once I get the high build epoxy on, I'm going to dry coat and go over it with a block and find all my lows. I'm not going to go through the epoxy. I'm just going to lightly sand it until I find all my lows, and then smear some Evercoat or something on it in the low spots and get them straightened out. And then once that's done, then I will go to the polyester primer and probably put 3 coats on, block it, see how it looks. If it looks good, then seal it and move on. If it don't, then put 3 more coats on and block it until I got it looking nice. So now it's the tedious process of sanding and blocking and sanding and blocking and sanding and blocking and sanding and blocking. So I'll probably, once I get the car in epoxy primer, I'm going to attempt to get the transmission cleaned up and drop the engine and transmission in the car, finish up all my suspension, and then get the car set on the ground. That way I can have all the weight down on the car the way it's going to be setting, and double, triple check all my gaps and make sure everything's going to be fine. And then that's whenever we'll be heading off to the races. And at that point I probably won't make any more videos for a while until I got this thing all blocked, sanded, and ready to shoot a coat of paint on it. So alright, that's where I'm at. Get back with you on it. Alright, so I didn't feel like a total bum today. I went ahead and did a little bit of something out here and cleaned that up. That where there used to be a hole there for the trim. Still need to work on this one a little bit, but welded that one shut. And then AMD from the factory puts the holes in automatically for the trim, but I'm not using trim on this car, so close those holes off, fix that one up, put me a patch in here where the body line was all jacked up right here. So I put me a patch here, got that straightened up. Still need a little bit of work here, but not too bad. Cleaned up these corners. Cleaned up this gutter here. This area that I had pushed back here and welded back together, got that straightened up. Same thing with that gutter corner done. I guess you would say rinse and repeat. Everything on this side's the same. Closing off these holes, but my doors didn't have the holes. This is the original door to this car. It didn't have the holes because this car didn't have the trim. So alright, just thought I'd show you what I done today, because like I said, I just didn't want to feel like a bum and not do anything out here, because time's a ticking and I gotta get after it here. So as soon as I get this metal work straightened out as good as I can get it, then I need to shoot the epoxy primer on it so it doesn't rust. Oh yeah. And then that filler panel that goes in between here and here. Had a big dent right here. I knocked that dent out. Then it had a couple small ones over here that I worked on. So, alright. Let me get out of here. Alright, so the other day I had mentioned getting in here and cleaning this up with the brush attachment on my vacuum, and I had three shop vacs. I got my little one that I carry with me on service calls to clean out dryers and stuff, and then I had that one in the basement. But when my garage one, it went south for the winter, bearings went out, started howling and making a bunch of noise. But anyways, out of all these different ones, I went to look for that attachment with the brush to do that. Nah, can't find one. So I ordered a attachment set off of Amazon so I can get that cleaned up in there. And then I was up at the parts place where I get my parts for appliances and stuff, and he donated this to me, a headlamp. He said I might need it while I'm doing body work, which he's right, it might help out. And then I got this purdy in because I went online to order one, and everybody was out of stock except for one place on eBay, Mega Parts. So then they only had like 4 of them. So I went ahead and ordered this and got it out of the way because mine's kind of pitted up around the edges here. And you can buy just this part here, but it's riveted on, and then they won't expect you to I don't know, use screws or something to put it back in place with the new one. So I just ordered one. So anyways, a little bit of bling bling there. More parts of the puzzle coming together here. I can't put my puzzle together yet. It's just like you have a puzzle and it's all in a box, but you know you're missing pieces, so you're searching around the living room under the tables and everything. No, I'm just kidding. Trying to find puzzle pieces, but instead of the living room, it's internet. So alright, it goes over into the brand new part pile, and I'm gonna get the car vacuumed out. See you later. Alright, so not much to add here. Just cleaned up the shop and cleaned out the inside of the car because it was pretty dirty. Yeah, all the sanding and grinding I've been doing. Got this reinstalled, sanded it back here a little bit so that it was like a little high right here, so got it fitting snug. Cleaned the trunk out. Went ahead and welded this one little spot weld I forgot to weld there. Took my sweet time about it, so it didn't burn back here. So weld, air, weld, air, weld, air. You know the deal. But that's been adjusted so that it's even on both sides, looking good. So that's where I'm at. I'm gonna go in the house here for a while. So the other day I ordered the bushings for the shackles on the back. It said set. Well, apparently a set is just one side. I didn't realize that. So I have to get another set, and they're like $5 a piece down at Napa, and they're 13 plus shipping for a set. So I don't know, we'll see. Whatever's cheaper. I might just have them shipped and not worry about going down to Napa and paying $5 a piece for them. Alright, that's where I'm at. Just cleaning up my mess, because I'm going to be making more messes. This is a little pointy here. I'll probably round that off a little bit. I'm not quite digging the way how pointy it is. I don't think the other side's like that. Yeah, see, it's more rounded off, not so pointy. So I'll do the same thing on that side, get it rounded off a little bit. Other than that, man, I got a few little things to get done. Sanded in here. Sand that sharp spot off over there. Sand here. Probably hit this with 80 grit just to smooth it out a little bit. And I need to put that panel bond on the inside of this, and then once that's done, I want to tap on that patch I put in there a little bit, just kind of tap it from the inside with the slapper, just so I don't have to use a ton of, well, not a ton, but you know what I'm saying, more Bondo than I want to use, or not Bondo, filler. Plastic filler. So a few more little places here to scuff up and do this and that. Scuff them up all the way around. Sand that off. And scuff that up. And I'm getting close where I can go ahead and shoot some epoxy primer on. It's supposed to be a cold front coming through this weekend, so it's going to drop the temperatures down over here, and I probably shouldn't be shooting epoxy on if it's too cold out here. So if anything goes down this weekend, if I end up getting caught up and getting it all cleaned up and ready for epoxy, then I will probably heat it with my electric furnace, maintain it with the gas, and just get it up to temperature, and just leave the doors shut and put a mask on and go after it. I'm gonna get out of here. Later. Alright, came out for a little bit here. Refitting the valence, rear valence here, because if you remember right, I hadn't finished it up and only had vice grips holding the bottom bolt part in, because the holes needed to be re-drilled. And while I was at it, I'm refitting everything. I'll probably bring my old bumper out of the basement and just a couple bolts in it to, well, the brackets. Put a couple bolts in the brackets in the rear bumper just to test fit and make sure everything's going to line up the way it's supposed to with the rear valence and everything. And then if it all lines up, my gap is a little wide here in my opinion, and it could probably be tighter. So what I'm going to do is just slice it down through here and push it over and re-weld it, and then clean it up, re-grind it all. Same thing on the other side, wrench and repeat. And then this profile here, you can see how it matches the quarter panel, was not matching on the other side. So with that, what I ended up doing was slicing the corner here, and then pushing this up in there to match the profile, and then cutting the excess lip off of there, and then I welded a piece of TIG rod in there to put it back together. So that's what I'm doing, and like I said, rinse and repeat. This is a little wide in my opinion, so I'm going to fix that, but I want to make sure the bumper and everything's gonna line up on the back here before I go any further. If it all matches up and everything, and then I get this repaired, then I'll go ahead and sand the E-coat off of it and get it ready to put epoxy primer on it also at the same time. Alright, that's where I'm at. Just jacking around out here. When I did the rear valence or quarter panels, I put the valence on there just to make sure it was going to fit side to side, and it did fit good side to side. It was just a little bit off on these quarters, on the corners, but I just figured I'd get back to it, and I did. I got back to it, so it's cleaning it up, make it look nice. I don't have to do anything on this front valance because it actually fits pretty nice. Good tight gap right there, and on the other side, really the front valance actually did fit pretty damn good. So with that said, get the rear one fitting, and that flash here, you probably see the flash, that's my headlight that I'm wearing. So this headlight is really handy, and Aero Cold Control give it to me today, and I appreciate it, no doubt about it. Alright, let me get out of here. Alright, Friday evening here. I wasn't going to come out here, but decided to come out and take the old bumper and kind of just set it on there, mock it up, the way I can see what I'm going to have to do to tuck it, to get it back in here a little tighter than that. I am going to try to just egg shape the holes in the frame brackets there and see if that gets me back far enough, because I don't have to go very far back because I am running the trim, the chrome trim that goes around here, so it only has to go back so far. So I might be able to get away with that, and I don't know if I'm going to have to shorten these or not. I'm not looking for all the way against it here. I'm just looking for, you guys know what I'm talking about, that the chrome that goes around the edges there. So I can't get it in there right this moment, but you know what I'm saying. Once the trim is on there, the trim will probably stick out probably about that far. Oh, sorry about that. So I only need to get the bumper to come back just a little bit to look good with the chrome on it. I didn't use bumper bolts. I'm just using some 9/16 regular 9/16 bolts, and I'm going to mock up this rear one too with the old bumper. Them are 71 and 72 bumper brackets right there. So I want to, like I said, I got to get some more of the 9/16 bolts just to bolt it on there to put it on the car. I'm just checking everything out before I go crazy, and because it's in my head, you know. Once it's in your head, oh yeah, you better check the fitment and all that stuff. So it's in my head, and I need to get it checked. I'm not touching the new bumpers. They're up there until the car is painted. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, we'll just mock it up, make sure everything's gonna look good before I move forward and start primer and stuff. I was able to locate these brackets. I had 2 sets of them. Sandblasted and cleaned up. And then there was these brackets that I didn't know where went until I did a little looking on the internet. The guy has a set on for sale over on eBay, but they go down in here. So, like that one. But I need another one of those U clips that's long like that, because there's an adjustment here. So I need one of the clips that's long enough to slide back and forth through there. Alright, just thought I'd let you know where I'm at with it. I'll be back on it tomorrow, jacking around, mocking these bumpers up, like I said, just to make sure that everything is where it needs to be before I start getting down to nitty gritty and putting some primer on it. I know. This video, I want you guys to take a drink of your beer every time I say epoxy in this video today. I bet you'll be drunker than hell by the time you're done watching this video, because we are going to get it in epoxy soon, and that's the goal, is to do the epoxy. And as long as I can put the bumpers on and make sure everything looks good, then I will take them back off and get ready to do some epoxy. But anyways, yeah, so that ain't gonna happen this weekend because we got a cold front coming in, and it's supposed to be in the 40s, and then freezing temperatures, 20s come Sunday. So next week is supposed to be perking back up and warming back up, and that'll probably be, this weekend will be the getting everything ready for the epoxy, and then next week sometime when it warms up will be the day I put the epoxy on. Alright, I'm out.